Before we dive into the fascinating and darker side of country music, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Leave a comment below telling us your thoughts about the golden age of country music and what you think of these incredible scandals. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming up. The golden age of country music, celebrated for its unforgettable hits and iconic stars, is also marred by a series of untold scandals that have haunted the genre for decades. Behind the melodies and harmonies that echo in our hearts, there lie stories of betrayal, manipulation, and tragedy. These are not just the stories of the stars we admire, but of the dark forces that controlled their fates, sometimes taking lives, sometimes breaking spirits, and often leaving secrets buried beneath the stage lights. From a legend burning an award to a tour doctor whose prescriptions fueled the rise and fall of countless artists, the real stories of the golden age of country music are much darker than we ever imagined. Let's start with the story of one artist who made history for a reason most people would rather forget. Imagine this. You're a famous musician, standing on Hollywood's Walk of Fame, a dream come true. But you have a dark secret, a secret so scandalous that it involves your own wife, and an act of anger that shocked the world. This artist, unlike any other, has his wife's name right beside his star. But it wasn't a romantic gesture. It was a moment driven by anger. The truth is, for many artists in the country music scene, success came at a high price. Behind their smiles and the tunes that made them household names was an industry built on control, exploitation, and unrelenting pressure. And nowhere was this more evident than at the Grand Ole Opry, the epicenter of country music, where a seemingly innocent membership contract was used as a tool of absolute control over the artists. By the mid-1950s, the Opry's membership contract had morphed into something far more sinister than simply a standard agreement. The radius clause, a stipulation in the contract, prohibited artists from performing anywhere within a 150-mile radius of Nashville without explicit permission from the Opry's management. It was sold as a way to maintain the Opry's high standards and preserve the integrity of performances. But in reality, it was a system designed to maintain absolute control over every facet of an artist's career. This clause ensured that the Opry could dictate where and when artists performed, squeezing out any opportunity for them to gain independence. The power of the Opry extended far beyond its walls. If an artist made even the smallest misstep, the consequences could be devastating. Take the story of Jimmy Martin, for example. Martin, a well-known figure in the country music scene, dared to arrange a television appearance without the Opry's consent. The punishment was swift and severe. Martin's scheduled performances were canceled, his name was wiped from promotional materials, and even his parking space at the Opry. It didn't stop there. Fellow artists were warned to avoid mentioning his name, and radio stations stopped playing his music. It wasn't just an attempt to expel him from the Opry, it was an effort to obliterate his entire career. This wasn't an isolated incident. The Opry's grip on its artists was so strong that it extended to every corner of the country music world. From radio stations to the smallest details backstage, the Opry exerted its control. Performers were always under scrutiny, and any minor infraction, whether it was a change in their performance schedule or being given an undesirable performance time, was seen as a subtle warning. The Opry could turn a rising star into a forgotten figure overnight, and artists were always worried about being under the watchful eye of the powers that be. In a particularly chilling incident, Ruby Falls, an emerging talent, dared to stand her ground by refusing to fire her manager after he lost favor with the Opry. The Opry's retaliation was swift and brutal. Not only was she banned from performing, but the Opry also banned her entire family from attending the shows as spectators. The message was clear: defy the Opry, and it wouldn't just end your career, it would erase you from the entire scene. This culture of control and intimidation led to a sense of fear and distrust among artists. What began as a community of country musicians soon became a network of people who were too afraid to speak out, too scared to challenge the system. But amidst the shadows of the Opry's iron grip, there were those who refused to back down. One such artist was Pierce, a man whose unconventional approach to country music turned his once quiet street in Nashville into a bustling carnival of tourists, souvenir vendors, and busloads of fans. Pierce embraced the chaotic and fun side of country music, wearing rhinestone outfits and hosting mechanical bull rides, turning his home into a wild spectacle. It was a far cry from the polished image that many country music leaders wanted for the genre. The mainstream country music community didn't take kindly to Pierce's antics. Local executives and high society members were appalled by what they saw as a threat to the image of country music. But Pierce wasn't interested in conforming. He ramped up his efforts, introducing a shooting gallery and turning his garage into a gift shop, attracting even more visitors. His neighborhood, once serene, became a tourist trap, and this only fueled the fire. Yet Pierce's actions weren't just a publicity stunt. They exposed a fundamental divide within the country music community. On one side, you had the old guard, which sought a more refined and sophisticated image of country music. On the other side, there was Pierce, who embraced the genre's down-to-earth, blue-collar roots. This conflict escalated into legal battles, and veteran artists supported Pierce's right to enjoy his success, while up-and-coming stars worried that his behavior might jeopardize their efforts to elevate the genre. But Pierce was just one figure in a larger pattern of rebellion and controversy in the country music world. There were moments when artists just couldn't take the pressure anymore, and it led to explosive reactions, like the infamous Charlie Rich moment at CMA Awards. Rich, the celebrated Silver Fox, had a reputation for being a bit rough around the edges, and on that fateful night his frustration with the state of country music boiled over. As Rich took the stage to present the prestigious Entertainer of the Year award, he had been drinking heavily backstage. His behavior was erratic, and when he saw that John Denver had won the award, he didn't hesitate. He pulled out a silver cigarette lighter and set the envelope on fire, defiantly declaring, "My friend, John Denver," with a sneer. The audience fell silent, stunned by the audacity of his protest. For Rich, the issue was clear. He believed that Denver's polished pop country style had no place in the true world of country music. Rich had spent years performing in honky-tonks and smoky bars, cultivating a raw, authentic sound that he felt was being overshadowed by the more commercial, mainstream approach. His fiery protest marked the beginning of a divide within the genre, one that would only widen in the years to come. The fallout from Rich's outburst was swift and severe. The CMA banned him from future ceremonies, radio stations stopped playing his music, and his label distanced itself from him. His career, once on top, began to unravel. Yet in hindsight, Rich's actions can be seen as a tragic protest against an industry that was rapidly changing. The country music world was being transformed into something more commercial, and for many artists, that transformation came with a heavy sense of loss. This tension between tradition and commercialism wasn't just confined to men. Kitty Wells, the pioneering female country artist, had long been aware of the double standards that existed within the industry. As a woman, she was expected to embody purity and innocence, while many male stars were allowed to indulge in secret affairs and double lives. Wells wasn't one to keep quiet, and when she learned of the shady dealings and double standards in the industry, she wrote a song that exposed the truth. "The Truth Ain't Pretty" was a bold and fearless critique of the men in the industry who preached family values while living secret lives. The song wasn't direct about naming names, but it was clear who Wells was addressing. She was exposing the hypocrisy, and the industry didn't take kindly to it. Radio stations banned her song, and the Grand Ole Opry threatened to expel her from its stage. But Wells wasn't intimidated. She took the song to smaller venues, and it gained traction, especially among women who had been sidelined for too long. Wells' defiance wasn't just about a song. It was about giving a voice to the women who had long been silenced. Her bravery inspired a new generation of female artists to stand up for themselves and demand respect. It was a moment that would shape the future of country music and help push for a more inclusive industry. Amid all this rebellion and defiance, however, the dark secrets continued to emerge. Artists like Patsy Cline, despite her undeniable talent, faced gossip and speculation about her rise to fame. Rumors swirled that her success had been aided by relationships with powerful men in the industry, and these whispers never quite went away. In an era where female artists were expected to embody innocence, Cline's ability to navigate the male-dominated world of country music became the subject of much speculation. Despite the rumors, Cline was determined to succeed on her own terms. Her emotional depth and vocal prowess set her apart from many of her contemporaries, and her success paved the way for other women to make their mark in country music. Yet the speculations surrounding her personal life remained an uncomfortable part of her legacy, one that often overshadowed the incredible talent she brought to the stage. As we move into the mysteries surrounding Gary Stewart, another tragic chapter in the history of country music unfolds. Stewart, known as the King of Honky Tonk, was enjoying a peaceful life in Florida with his wife, Mary Lou, when tragedy struck. On the eve of Thanksgiving in 2003, Mary Lou was found dead from a gunshot wound, and suspicion quickly turned towards Stewart. Though the case was ruled an accident, the mystery deepened when just weeks later, Stewart himself was found dead in their home under eerily similar circumstances. The unsettling discovery of song lyrics, incomplete letters to deceased country legends, and a calendar marking significant dates related to their deaths led to speculation that there was more to the story than anyone knew. Some suggested that Stewart had been struggling with something far deeper than his public persona let on, and his grief over his wife's death may have been tied to darker secrets that had never come to light. Hank Williams, too, left behind a mystery that has never truly been solved. Williams' death, officially ruled as an accident, is believed by some to have been the result of the music industry's unrelenting pressure on him to perform, even as his health deteriorated. The mysterious doctor who administered medication to him just hours before his death, and the disappearance of his medical records, only added to the intrigue. His passing, while romanticized by the industry, marked a turning point in country music, where artists were seen as commodities to be consumed by the public and then discarded when they were no longer of use. These untold stories are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the darker side of country music. From the manipulative practices of doctors like Dr. Marcus Winfield, who supplied artists with dangerous medications to fuel their grueling schedules, to the heartbreaking stories of stars whose lives were cut short by addiction, depression, and abuse, country music's golden age is anything but golden when seen through the lens of these scandals. If this behind-the-scenes look at the darker side of country music shocked you, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with anyone who loves country music or is interested in the untold stories of the stars. And don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think of these scandals, and which one shocked you the most? Keep tuning in for more stories from the world of music, and we'll see you in the next video.